welcome. You're watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Anetta Felix. Now we begin our top story in Bauchi State, northeast Nigeria, where the police command says it has arrested not less than 60 bandits, popularly called Sarasuka, in the metropolis between June 2nd and 4th. Speaking on Wednesday in Bauchi State, police public relations officer Kamal Abubakar says troops of Operation Puff Adder raided criminal hotspots and arrested the bandits following the intelligence reports they gathered. Abubakar says they recovered 2 knives, 11 machetes and 8 sachets of assorted illicit drugs from the suspects. The police spokesman also mentioned that a tactical team of Operation Puff Adder arrested 2 suspected car thieves. He said the suspects, whose names he gave as Daniel, 29 years old, of Boko local government area of Benue State, and Samuel, age 22, of Olu local government area of Imo State, allegedly stole a Lexus Jeep valued at 4 million naira. Abubakar says both cases are being investigated to ensure a hitch-free Salah celebration. The Nigerian police force has raised the alarm on new tricks used by criminals to rob and defraud unsuspecting people. Police spokesperson Frank Umba, while parading some suspects at the force headquarters in Abuja, said some criminal-minded people go from state to state, stealing rented vehicles and committing other crimes. The police have now advised companies and individuals who are in the business of renting out vehicles to conduct proper background checks before giving out the vehicles for rent.
There's also a gang here that specializes in traveling from state to state to take vehicles on hire. They take vehicles on rental, and the moment the vehicle is released to them, they drive up with the driver, and on the road, they forcefully take over the steering from the driver, kills the driver, and then convert the vehicle to theirs. Those who maintain rental services, car hire services, give out their vehicles on charter basis, is to ensure that they conduct a thorough background check or be sure that there's someone who will act as an intermediary between the persons coming to rent the vehicle from them and the people taking the vehicle away. You need to be sure that you know the character of the persons you are giving your vehicle to avoid scenarios like this.
Still on security matters, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in Borno State has arrested one 24-year-old Aliyu Mohammed, suspected to be supplying improvised explosive device logistics to Boko Haram in Maiduguri. Ibrahim Abdullahi, commandant of the NSCDC, said that preliminary investigation conducted by the command revealed that the suspect supplied mobile phones, battery, wristwatches, as well as laptop computers used for setting off IEDs designed to inflict massive casualties. Speaking in an interview with newsmen on Wednesday in Maiduguri, the NSCDC boss says that suspect was nabbed by men of the command on April 25th, following intelligence report while he was on his way to supply bomb materials for Boko Haram terrorists. Abdullahi added that the suspect will be handed over to the 7th Division garrison of the army for further interrogation and profiling. Now, away from security matters now to politics, lawmakers at the 8th House of Representatives will round off legislative activities on Thursday with a valedictory session. Acting Clerk of the House of Representatives, Patrick Giwa, stated this in a press release issued in Abuja. The valedictory session will hold on Thursday, June 6, 2019, in the House chamber by 11 a.m. In a related development, the coalition of united political parties have rejected the choice of the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, as the next speaker. The ruling All Progressives Congress had named Gbajabiamila its preferred candidate for the position, but the spokesman for the CUPP, Imo Uguchinyere, told journalists in Abuja and accused Gbajabiamila of committing crimes which disqualifies him for the speakership position.
Proudly, we announce to you today that a court in the FCT has issued criminal summons against Femi Gbajabiamila to appear in person on the 10th day of June 2019. And the court also granted an ex parte application to serve him by substituted means through the clerk of the National Assembly, and by this, Femi Gbajabiamila has been successfully served with the summons in accordance with the order of the court. With all the documents shown above, the stage is now set for the arraignment of Femi Gbajabiamila on Monday, and if he fails to appear in person on Monday, we shall be left with no option but to apply for an arrest warrant to be issued against him on that same Monday.
Reacting to this, however, the All Progressives Congress APC has denied claims of criminal allegations against Femi Gbajabiamila. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja on Wednesday, the Director General of the Femi Gbajabiamila and Ahmed Basi campaign organization, Abdul Mumin Jibrin, insists that Gbajabiamila has not been served any court document. He adds that Gbajabiamila has instructed his legal team to sue the CUPP leadership for defamation of character.
We wish to state once again and emphatically clear that Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila has never been convicted for any crime in the United States of America, Nigeria, or any other country around the world for that matter. He has never been accused of corruption and has no corruption case hanging on his neck in Nigeria or anywhere around the world. We further wish to state that Honorable Femi has not been served any summon by an area court, neither has he been notified by the clerk of the National Assembly. We are worried that those behind these antics are trying to drag the judiciary and our revered judges to what is clearly a hatchet job. We urge the general public to disregard the falsehood being peddled around. It is also very strange that a private citizen or organization will be filing criminal charges against an individual. From our understanding of legal procedure, that can only be done by the state. Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila and Honorable Ahmed Idris Wasi will be on the floor of the House on the 11th, live and direct, to be elected Speaker and Deputy Speaker respectively.
Away from politics, in the House of Representatives, Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Ministry has applauded the emergence of Tijani Muhammad Bande as the president of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The president of the 73rd session of the UN General Assembly, Maria Espinosa, and the Secretary General of the UN General Assembly, Antonio Guterres, have also congratulated him. Bande served as Nigeria's former Minister of Environment and was elected on Tuesday at the 87th plenary meeting of the Assembly in New York, the United States. He was the sole candidate for the position and is the second Nigerian to hold the office after the retired military officer and diplomat Joseph Garba and former permanent representatives to the UN Professor Joy Ogu. He will assume his new position in September 2019. It took 6 months before President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated his cabinet in 2015. In this exclusive chat with Deji Badmus, political analyst Muda Yusuf is urging the president to set up his cabinet in the shortest possible time. President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in for his second term in office a week ago on May 29th, and Yusuf says the errors of the past should be amended to avoid a slow start of the second tenure. He also prescribes parameters for the cabinet members to operate and be appointed.
I don't expect that the experience we had 4 years ago will repeat itself this time around. So within the next 4 weeks, I expect that the cabinet should be in place. As to the kind of people that we want to see in the cabinet, of course, we would like to see more technocrats. But again, the capacity to deliver of any cabinet member is a function of the environment in which the cabinet member is operating. Even if you are a technocrat and the environment doesn't allow you to function as a technocrat, you will still be back to square one. So the environment we create for those who are professionals to function is very important. Whether we heed the advice of those who are technocrats is also important, because it's one thing to have the technocrats on the cabinet, it's another thing for the leadership to listen to the advice of the technocrats. So we have to look at the whole issue of performance in a very holistic way. We look at the disposition of the political leadership, we look at the environment in which they are operating, and we look at the capacity of those who are in the cabinet. So those three key parameters are very key to determining whether we have good performance on the part of any minister or not. But very important that we have technocrats in the cabinet, and we should have a coordinating person in terms of economic management issues, so that we don't have pockets of economic ministries or the central bank or trade and investment or finance or customs doing things in their own different ways. We have to have a proper coordination of anything that will impact on the economy, either in terms of regulatory environment or in terms of monetary policy, fiscal policy, tariff policy, agricultural policy, and all of that. There has to be a rallying point that you point in a clear direction as to which direction actually the economy is going. That is very important.
A British court has seized the sum of 211 million euros or 81.9 billion naira, being money looted by the former Nigerian military head of state, General Sani Abacha. The money was recovered and confiscated in Jersey, Channel Islands, on the request of the United States of America government. Late Abacha was said to have laundered the money through the U.S. into the Channel Islands before his death in 1998. According to reports by Metro UK on Tuesday, the money was put into accounts held in Jersey by Doraville Properties Corporation, a British Virgin Islands company. It has now been held by the government until authorities in Jersey, the United States and Nigeria come to an agreement on how it should be distributed. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has listed 22 women, including the late Kudirat Abiola, to be inducted into the Nigerian Women Hall of Fame. The ministry, through the National Center for Women Development, NCWD Abuja, aims to recognize women who played pivotal roles in the development of Nigeria. The induction theme, Celebrating Nigerian Women, Icons of Hope, is scheduled to hold on June 10th, 2 days to the Democracy Day. Other women to be inducted include Dr. Stella Adadevo, who died in August 2014, while helping to curb the spread of the Ebola virus. Others are Senators Oluremi Tinubu, Binta Agaba, Professor Adenike Osofisa, Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija, and Dr. Stella Okoli. The Nigerian government is working assiduously to address the growing rates of human trafficking in the country and the world at large. Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Julia Okadoni, says Nigeria has partnered with Niger to curb trafficking across border. Okadoni also adds that the government is working with the United Kingdom to raise awareness on the dangers and ills of illegal migration.
The Niger one is very strategic in the sense that Niger and Nigeria share a very common border, and so there's a lot of entry and exit on the part of Nigerians and Nigerians alike. So that partnership is extremely important. There's so much human trafficking going on across borders both ways, and so it's very important and necessary that we partner with Niger. We're about to sign an MOU to fine-tune other areas of what the partnership would spell out. On the part of the UK aid, I'm not for sale, is a communication strategy, a kind of awareness campaign for the young boys and girls, men and women, to know that they are priceless and they are not for sale, because the human traffickers see them as objects, they see them as merchandise, and so it's just a kind of slogan that makes them to have confidence in themselves, to rebuild the confidence they've lost. Because we found out that most of traffic victims are people who have very low self-esteem, and so this is a kind of, trying to boost their morals and make them know that, yeah, there are better options for them in Nigeria and should not be seen as a commodity to be sold or bought by anyone.
The NAPTIP DG also speaks on the growing trend of orphanage trafficking, adding that her agency is also working to address the issue.
Now we have a lot of orphanage trafficking. People just pick children up from anywhere, and the next thing they set up an orphanage. And the question is, those children couldn't have fallen from the sky. When you see children wandering, the first thing that should come to your mind is this is a missing person. And then you try as much as possible as a good Nigerian citizen to look for the parents of this child. and not to take the child into your home and then it now becomes a permanent visitor or guest in your home. And that's what a lot of orphanages are doing. Will you also believe that there's so many orphanages who have children that were kidnapped and kept in the orphanage home, because people now see orphanages as a place where children, orphans are being helped, and they come with money, they come with clothing, they come with provisions, and then some of these fake orphanage homes have taken advantage of it. They take food, they take money from unsuspecting Nigerians who think that they are helping, whereas they are promoting kidnapping and all sorts of evil things. Some of them even sell children from the orphanages. Yes, that's not within my mandate, but true, we have to work with those whose mandate it is and ensure that children are not taken advantage of in the orphanages, especially the fake ones that are not registered. Even the ones that are registered, we have to be sure that they fall in line with the practices, the best.
You're still watching News Now. There's more to come after this break. A week into the start of the second term of Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, experts have continued to set agenda for the government. Now, one sector that has taken center stage is oil and gas, as well as the issue of petroleum subsidy. Now, speaking on our flagship program, the TV360, financial consultant Gabriel Idahosa urged the federal government to come up with a committed plan to remove petrol subsidy. Idahosa says the government's reluctance to take out subsidy fully has scared investors away and is costing the country millions of naira.
So when we say take out the subsidy, it's not...
Because the refineries are still not working.
Yeah, it is not that you do it this morning and say, okay, the subsidy is gone. But have a commitment to take out the subsidy. Have a plan that takes it. If the government in 2015 has said that in 3 years we are taking out the subsidy on an incremental action every 6 months, by now we'll be out of the subsidy. But if you are not committed to removing the subsidy, then a lot of things don't happen. A lot of people who would have invested in certain sectors, downstream oil industry for example, did not invest because of subsidy. The big refineries that are being built now are anticipating that subsidies will slide out of the system.
Like the Dangote refinery.
They will, because if you don't remove the subsidy, then you will just buy the refined products from these refineries that are being built at the same rate as which you are buying them from abroad. The only difference will be the freight.
Absolutely.
That's the only difference. Because the refineries, we buy our crude oil at international price. They are not going to buy crude oil at any subsidized price. So the cost of producing the oil will be about the same, whether you produce it in Lagos or in Europe. The difference will be the freight. So there will be a little reduction in cost because of freight and the insurance that goes with it.
The German government, with support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, has provided €2 million for the implementation of the second phase of the Competitive African Rice Initiative, CARI, in Nigeria. CARI's program director, Jim Bennett, told newsmen on Wednesday in Abuja that the second phase of the project, known as CARI 2, will be implemented in Kebbi, Kaduna and Jigawa State. He says the aim is to help smallholder farmers increase their income and provide their families and the country with high-quality rice. The Competitive African Rice Initiative was launched in 4 African countries, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Ghana and Tanzania in 2013, and is expected to last to June 2020. We'll take a break here and bring you up to speed with the latest around the world after this break.
Corruption not in my country. Dalali, my business has been going down. I need your help.
Bawahala. I will show you the formula. I use some bad chemical which I mix, so produce the drugs which gives me up to 4 times profit. Imagine, pa.
So you are one of the people that is killing millions and millions of Nigerians in this country. That was it not you last 2 months that was complaining about fuel scarcity in this country, that the government is corrupt?
Have I killed anybody in your family?
You don't have to kill any of my family members directly. Every Nigerian you kill is my family. Selling of fake drugs, expired drugs, putting drugs in wrong packet, all that are acts of corruption. This is corruption, not in my country. CIA.
Me? Fake drug? Now corruption? Allah care.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Death toll in Sudan has risen to 100 in a 2-day crackdown on Sudanese protesters by security forces, a doctors' committee close to the demonstrators said on Wednesday. The Central Committee of Sudanese Doctors had counted 40 dead on Monday, 60 dead early Wednesday, but now say they have seen at least 100 dead bodies, with the death toll expected to rise. The military has shut down the internet in Sudan, so it's difficult to determine the full scale of the conflict since the bloody dispersal of the weeks-long sit-in outside the army headquarters in Khartoum on Monday. 17 people are missing after a cargo boat sank off eastern Indonesia, authorities said on Wednesday. 18 people were on board the vessel when it overturned on Saturday afternoon in Indonesia. The cargo was sailing from Bitung on the northern tip of Sulawesi Island to Morowali Regency in the south. Now, one 35-year-old survivor was found by a passing vessel floating in a life jacket on Tuesday and is now receiving medical treatment. Ahead of the Super Eagles friendly with the Warriors of Zimbabwe, technical advisor of the team, Gernot Rohr, has expressed optimism that Nigeria will perform optimally in the forthcoming Nations Cup in Egypt. Rohr says his team has been training hard to ensure they finish first or second in the group stage and proceed to the round of 16. Nigeria is in Group E alongside South Africa, Seychelles and Libya. In preparation for the tournament, Nigeria will play Zimbabwe on Saturday by 5 p.m. local time.
Today you don't have any easy teams to play. Each team, especially the teams who are in the AFCON now qualified, are difficult to play. You know that Madagascar was the first team in October 2018 qualified for the AFCON. Before Senegal, before Ivory Coast, Cameroon and ourselves. So, you know, and also you have this Burundi team unbeaten in the 6 games of AFCON qualifiers, in a group with Mali and Gabon. Aubameyang, he could not beat them. So, no, it's not an easy group. And when you see what they have in Guinea-Conakry, you have such big players. Perhaps we don't have these players from Liverpool, Keita, Diawara from Napoli, Kamano, so very good strikers also. Will not be easy to finish in the top of the group. We have to finish in the 2 first places. Even the 3rd one can go, but we prefer to be in the first 2 places in this group, because I think it would be easier perhaps to go further. And I hope also a little bit for us, we can really bring this quality they have in the clubs in our team. Even if we don't have these big stars like Nigeria had in the 90s with this J.J. Okocha, Kanu, Ikpeba and the other one. But we have a team, and in our spirit we are collective, we are humble, so I think we can go far.
49-year-old Swiss-Italian Gianni Infantino has been re-elected for a 2nd term as president of football's international governing body, FIFA, on Wednesday, having won unopposed. Infantino was first elected in February 2016 after Sepp Blatter was banned after a corruption scandal in 2015. Infantino is behind the expansion of the World Cup from 32 teams to 48 for the 2026 tournament, which will be held in the United States, Canada and Mexico. He will now serve as UEFA president until at least 2023. And that's all for now on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. It's TV360 Nigeria. And catch up on other interesting programs on our website. It's www.tv360nigeria.com. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.